it seems that the discussion over who Jesus is, which is a critically important one, for Jesus himself when he said to Peter, "Who do you say that I am?" It's not a matter of small importance to decide who Jesus is, and if we started with Matthew, we'd have no difficulty at all. Matthew declares Jesus in his opening verse to be the son of David, and that's the genesis of Jesus. It is unimaginable that anyone could write about the genesis, the origin, the begetting in Mary of a human being, and by that mean that he really was an angel for billions of years before, or much less God the Son. That's incredible. There's no way that Matthew can make this clearer, and the argument so-called about pre-existence, which in itself is a very foggy term, how do you pre-exist yourself? How do you exist before you exist? The word beget is a simple word in Greek. It means to cause to come into existence. So we're talking about the causing to come into existence, and that of course is what every human being does in the womb of Mary. Matthew could not have made this easier. Unfortunately, people leap from Matthew and Luke, where the foundation of Christianity is laid so beautifully, to other texts that they find which they suppose contradict Matthew and Luke. But rather than seeing that they're contradicting Matthew and Luke, they say, oh no, well, this is an argument from silence. Really, Mary should have understood that she was taking in an angel into her womb. That's absolutely incredible. Matthew has laid out the whole truth of who Jesus is right there, and Luke, as we know, wrote to Theophilus describing the faith. Can you imagine that Luke, who wrote more of the New Testament practically than anybody else, at least equal with Paul, completely forgot to tell us that Jesus was alive as an angel before he was born? This is amazing at the common sense level. No, the faith delivered to Theophilus by Luke, according to the witnesses that Luke had collected, is absolutely specific. And the major commentaries are agreed that there's no pre-existent person in the accounts of the origin of Jesus. That's why Genesis is such an important word there. And Yanao, the angel, in response to the very nice question from Mary, how can this be since I'm not married? Well, the answer is very clear. The Holy Spirit will come over you. Divine power will overshadow you. Those are, in parallel, two statements to say the same thing. And for that reason precisely, this wonderful miracle in your womb will be the Son of God. That's the reason. That's the reason why he's the Son of God. That's simple. We should get on with our lives and not complicate this by using John and Paul to contradict Matthew and Luke. That's a shame, because the Bible was supposed to be a delightful book for us, not to argue about endlessly. And the tangle of argumentation out there in internet land is quite frightening to me. I wish above all things Paul said you all say the same thing. Let's try something very easy. Was Jesus a Jew or not? We all know he was a Jew. What do Jews believe about God? Well, guess what? In Mark 12:29, Jesus is seen to be in conversation with an enthusiastic Jew, and they agree on the creed. Listen, Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. That's the proper translation there, the Greek, following the Septuagint. Now, that's really not very difficult. Out there in intellect land, we have the proposition that God is two Lords or three Lords. This should not be that difficult. Jesus the Messiah is a dyed-in-the-wool Jewish Unitarian, clearly. Anybody with a modicum of historical sense knows that first century Jews didn't believe in the Trinity.